What's good, y'all? It's your guy Bendu. I wanted to cover this article that I came across. I didn't even know this was a thing recently. I think I saw it on Heartland's Media. They covered it, but this media is they're still coming at Jimmy Dore for forced to vote. So I wasn't going to cover this until I read certain parts of this article that just like infuriated me, and I felt like I kind of had to cover it. And like literally right now as I speak, I was scrolling on Twitter and I saw that Jimmy went on Tucker's show again, talking about disinformation. So I'm probably going to do a video about that too, but I just wanted to cover this article first. So let's go ahead and read through it, and I'll give my opinion on it. Pointless infighting among progressives is becoming exhausting and harmful. And this article is by Manny Fidel. Who is this person? Let's see. It's by this person. So this is Manny Fidel. Right. A disagreement over Medicare for All has pit influential progressives against Representative Alexandria Ocasio Cortez. It's the latest example of progressives engaging in dumb. Okay, I want to say this again. It's the latest example of progressives engaging in dumb line drawing battles against each other. This is why I don't identify as a progressive. This is why I don't like calling myself a progressive. I don't like other people calling me one, because look, I'm a dude for I'm for fucking good ideas, bro. Like real shit. If the idea is good, it's good. Medicare for all is a good idea. That's why I'm for it. That's why I don't agree with this shit. Because this is what happens when you identify something. Debate is healthy, but shunning people who want the same things is counterproductive. This is an opinion column. The thoughts of those are expressed by the author. Blah blah blah. So this is what the corporate media does to you. They like to make sure that your views are expressed. Because I'm pretty sure Business Insider isn't for Medicare for all. When a wing of progressives called on Alexandria Ocasio Cortez to force a Medicare for all vote in the House, it drew a line in the sand for people on the left. The force to vote was an effort that intended to ostracize Republicans and centrist Democrats who don't support an overhaul of our nation's healthcare system. AOC didn't think it was a good idea, noting that forcing a vote doesn't have a chance in the House, let alone the Senate, could only cause friction among Democrats and harm their cause. See, that's not your fucking cause. So your cause, as quoted by Kyle Kalinske, um, your fucking founder, one of your founders, because the other founder wants to be a dickhead and not understand, what your purpose was. But I digress. Your purpose was to go in there and do a hostile takeover. That's what Kyle Kalinske said. Not go in there and play nice with Nancy Pelosi. It was to be basically effectively be the progressive left wing version of the Tea Party. You guys are not that. You call Nancy Pelosi Mama Bear. You roll over every time you vote for her. First of all, you shouldn't be voting for Pelosi solely just off of principle. But if you're going to vote for her, get something for your fucking vote, which you didn't do. This disagreement created a loud faction of progressives who are now anti-AOC. They are seemingly led by comedian turned political talk show host Jimmy Dore, who in December said that AOC is now standing between you and healthcare, and went on to call her a liar, gaslighter, and coward. Sounds about right. uh, unthinkably giving her standing as Unthinkably, given her standing as the highest profile progressive member of Congress, AOC saw her Twitter mentions flooded with hate fueled banter and accusations of being a sellout and a fraud. She'll be fine, of course, as that's just part of her job. Oh, thank fucking God this guy isn't like, defending a politician while he's totally writing an article defending a politician. But the impulse from progressives to turn on their own and for relatively dumb reasons has become a baffling spectacle and maddening trend that stalled real change. Instead of infighting and bickering, progressives need to take a step back and understand what's the best path to progress is. That's what forced to vote was. That's the best path to it, because guess what? We were told by AOC, Bernie Sanders, and all these other progressives to vote for a person who is diametrically against Medicare for all because Trump bad. And just going with that logic, because I look, in my personal opinion, you already know, I think Joe Biden is worse than Donald Trump in terms of people are going to go back to sleep. Nothing's going to get done. Joe Biden's backtracked on $15 minimum wage. Joe Biden has backtracked on the $2,000 Checks is 1,400 now, and it's going to be super means tested. Joe Biden has backtracked on almost every single one of his campaign promises, just like Donald Trump. But the difference between him and Trump is that liberals is going to tell you, oh, we got to wait for the Senate. Da da da. We can't mess up. We got to get more people in the Senate. We got to wait for 2022. It's this constant. We have to beat the Republicans instead of we have to provide health care for people. Nancy Pelosi again. AOC voted for Nancy Pelosi, who was against Medicare for all. You stab my back, I'll stab yours. The 2020 Democratic primaries were heated. People who were passionate about a particular candidate would sometimes wade into insults and ridicule on social media. Just about every candidate had a small but loud faction of supporters who would do this. But for whatever reason, Bernie Sanders' online faction got the most media attention. While Sanders continued to offer an inclusive agenda and even denounced the more annoying parts of his base, scores of liberals and progressives became turned off by even the thought of Sanders. They held this grudge despite his long-standing record on vital issues and humble demeanor. Yeah, you know how like Hillary Clinton supporters. So in 2008, when Hillary ran in the primary, she refused to drop out. So Bernie Sanders in 2020, they were begging him to drop out against Biden when Bernie was the clear frontrunner. But Hillary Clinton refused to drop out. And then on top of that, after she did finally drop out with concessions and just certain things she got, more like there were more supporters that voted for John McCain in 2008, Hillary supporters that went and voted for McCain in 2008, than there were Bernie supporters that turned and went for Trump, like way more. And I covered that in a previous video as well. So their reasoning for being mad at Bernie Sanders is a complete bullshit. And the guy, he says that here, but I just wanted to reiterate that even more because he doesn't bring that up in this article, which you fucking should bring that shit up. This became clear when Sanders, as head of the Senate Budget Committee, asked Neera Tanden, Biden's pick to lead the office, the OMB, to reflect her own attacks on social media, including personal attacks she hurled at Bernie himself. Tanden apologized for her actions, but if you looked under any tweet about the exchange, you saw countless accusations of sexism on Bernie's part, attacks on his character, and a general sense of pure hatred for the man. Yeah, of course, yeah, for sure. But however, this is bullshit, and I'm going to be covering this in another video. Joe Manchin is opposing her. So I read about this in like an article or some shit, or I saw it on Twitter in like an article. So Manchin's daughter was in charge of like some health company or big pharma company that makes EpiPens, and they basically were price gouging EpiPens. And Neera Tanden called her out on it for whatever fucking reason. When it's like, you're calling somebody out for being a neoliberal fucking, corporate hack, pot calling the kettle black. However, so that's why Manchin is more than likely mad at her. But regardless, I don't care why he's doing it. She should not be heading that office, and it shouldn't be Joe Manchin blocking it. It should be Bernie Sanders blocking it. But Bernie Sanders is a coward, so that's why he's not. This grudge against Bernie Sanders held by so-called progressives remains weird and a little bit sad, especially considering how long it's been since the primaries. The disdain for the Vermont senator even affects the people he associates with. When Move On, a high-profile progressive advocacy organization, endorsed Nina Turner, a former Bernie Sanders surrogate for Congress, it was met with a wave of displeasure. The list of pointless grudges doesn't stop there. I'll be the first to admit that I was upset with Senator Elizabeth Warren during the 2020 primaries. I felt she had undermined the progressive cause, not just by promoting a misleading story that implied Bernie Sanders was a sexist, but also by corralling her supporters behind him when her campaign ran out of steam. But now that a whole year has passed, it's easy to admit that Warren is a pivotal part of the progressive agenda, and should be supported as such. Many progressives, though, simply can't get over that grudge. She's still a snake in too many people's eyes. So it's not even the fact that she's a snake, it's the fact that she's a fucking liar. She's a fucking liar. The whole point of Bernie Sanders' movement is to get politicians out of office that are liars and lying to the people to our detriment. That was part of Bernie's movement. So it's like Elizabeth Warren embodies that. And then on top of that, the reason why you see people like Jimmy, the reason why you see people like me, the reason why you see people like Heartlands, Frank Analysis, Unapologetic, all these left people, Graham Elwood, getting Bernie the fuck out of here, is because Bernie voted for the CARES Act. And people aren't talking about that. He voted for the CARES Act and then gaslit about him getting the 600 plus dollars in there for the unemployment and shit like that, which he didn't do. That was already going to be in the bill. They basically crafted that so Bernie Sanders can go and grandstand on the Senate floor. So Bernie Sanders voted for the largest transfer of wealth to the richest people in the country in human history. In human fucking history. He voted for the largest transfer of wealth in human history. That's unforgivable in my opinion. And to a lot of people. But when people continuously report the CARES Act as just like a mistake, or they just flat out brag about all the shit Bernie got. It's like, bro, like look at what the CARES, look at where we're at right now. We're still begging for $1,400. Look at where we're at right now. So if you still think Bernie did the best he could in the CARES Act and got the best, you're a fucking chump. I'm sorry, that's what you are. You're a chump. You're a sucker. Um, and he shows this tweet. Maybe if Elizabeth Warren weren't a pathological liar that backstabbed progressives 2 primaries in a row, she wouldn't have gotten called out for her snake-like behavior. So my thing is like I 100% agree with that, and most people would. First of all, she did it. So in 2016, Warren wouldn't even endorse Bernie. You had somebody like Tulsi. She was like the chair of the DNC or something like. Tulsi was like she had a high position in the DNC. Tulsi left that position so she can endorse Bernie on principle. That is what we're talking about. We're talking about principle. See, the reason why we diametrically oppose people like Joe Biden and Hillary Clinton, Chuck Schumer, Pelosi, the corporate Democrats, is because they have no principles. Because they put their principles for sale to the highest bidder. So Warren has shown she doesn't have any principles. And in my opinion, if you're good at something, if you're good at gaslighting, if you're good at lying, if you're good at being a sleazy politician, don't do it for free. That's what I'm fucking talking about. You're doing all this weaselly shit to grab power and it's not working. As y'all know, I like to say on the show, if you're good at something, don't do it for free. If you're going to be corrupt, at least go all the way, shorty. That's all I'm saying. These people are too petty to see that she's fighting for everything they want, including universal health care. What does that mean, though? See, people like to say universal health care, but that can mean finding some free market solution to universal health care. So she needs to, and I'm pretty sure Warren supports single payer, but I've heard discrepancy, different things people have about her bill. Basically, what I like when I got into politics and started following, the healthcare debate, single payer healthcare and everything, like I've always heard that Bernie's plan was the best. And second that was Tulsi. So, but I digress. A $15 minimum wage and a cancellation of student loan debt. It would be harder for progressives, yeah, and look how far that's gotten you. You literally teamed up with the person that is supposed to be your arch nemesis in Joe Biden, and he's abandoning your one of your flagship things you stand for. Good job. So it's not even just about you being a snake. It's about you like doing snake-like shit to acquire power and getting nothing in the end. It would be harder for progressives to accomplish those things if the people who advocate for them aren't supportive of the lawmakers who can make them happen. It's not just Warren who's been targeted by progressive grudges either. Like Sanders, Warren has fought for a slew of policies that progressives dream about. But for those who illogically consider them enemies of the progressive movement, that doesn't matter. It's not illogically considering them enemies. It's watching their movements and what they do and how they've been proven liars, which is why we oppose them. And it's weird because the Republicans are having this same fucking problem, except their problem was created by Trump. Trump created a division in their party. The Democratic Party has had this division and since like Thomas Frank will say since Clinton, I'll say since Carter, in my opinion. But we've been going through this like civil war in the party for decades, literally, as I just said. Some say Clinton, I say Carter, but the Republicans are going through it now because you have the Trump people, and it's like the Trump people you got your different types of Trump people, but Trump in 2016 reprimanded a populist ideology which the Republican base is not for. So basically the whole point I'm trying to make is you're not just seeing it, this divide with the left and progressives and everything. You're seeing it on the right as well. And it's because you have people that are standing, you're either standing for the corporations or you're standing for the people. And AOC presented herself as somebody who's standing for the people. Bernie presented himself as somebody who stands for the people. Warren kind of, I guess. Tulsi definitely presented herself as somebody who stands for the people. However, they all bend the knee to the power structure. So what is the point of voting for you if in the end you are always going to take a knee to the power structure? Another video I'm going to be working on is Nina Turner in her Humanist Report. She went on that show and basically said, y'all are going to be disappointed in me. Basically, she's telling you she's going to bow to power to try and in some way get power. But it's like when you bow, you surrender your power. That's why real niggas like me say I bow to no man. And that's real shit. I don't bow to nobody, bro. You give me my power and my respect off of who I am coming in here. And if you don't, I'm going to fight like hell to get that respect and power. I don't bow to no man. I don't bow to none of y'all bitch ass niggas supported by these bitch ass corporations and these billionaires and shit. Fuck that, dog. I know the people. If I'm a congressperson, I'm not going to be saying it like this, cussing and everything, but I know the fucking people's behind me and they going to ride for me no matter what. So fuck y'all, man. If y'all opposed to me, fuck y'all. And the people that do that shit, that position themselves like that, they're the ones who always have the most success. And that's how AOC positioned herself. And you see her popularity declining as she's starting to do the opposite of that. And I'm going to play a video here in a second that shows you that everything he's saying is wrong from AOC herself. But keep it simple. As someone who spends a lot of time on Twitter pointing out the hypocrisies of politicians, I'm not saying you shouldn't be skeptical of them in general. All right. Even trivial forms of ridicule aren't so bad in the larger discourse, but people should save their real disdain for an actual policy or platform they disagree with. Yeah, okay, I saved that. One of my red lines was corruption. One of my red lines was about lying. One of my red lines was about healthcare, and it's like constantly the AOC and the squad crosses that. Talib, she put out a bill basically like trying to regulate a specific, I forget which cryptocurrency it is, which coin it is, but to regulate it on behalf of the banks. So the bill that she's proposing is in favor of the banks. So on that's one of my red lines. If you're proposing any bills that's favorable to the central banking system that fucks over black people, and this cryptocurrency is actually helping those people, and the same community you claim to be defending even came out and said, nah, this is bullshit, like stop this is hurting us, she still went forward with it. So fuck her for that. You run around seeing AOC out here, I'm going to defer to party leadership on Venezuela. Like what the fuck? Like even like foreign policy and even on domestic policy, again, with force to vote. The people want you to force to vote. Because guess what? You can get all of the fucking, pay-go exemptions you want. But at the end of the day, the roadblock is Nancy Pelosi. That's what it is. She's going to, if she doesn't want that bill on the floor, it's not going to happen. You saw that with Pramila Jayapal when she put forth her paycheck guarantee plan. Nancy Pelosi said, "Oh, fuck out of here with that." Because you have no power. You guys had the power by denying. It was up to Nancy Pelosi to choose whether she wanted to be speaker or not. Put a house on the floor and you'll be speaker. Don't put a house on the floor. You're not speaker. That's a choice that you made. But see, they're afraid to play hardball because they don't want the scrutiny from the media. They're afraid to be hated because they're fucking cowards, man. And it's like, that's why we need people like Jimmy. You feel me? We need people, that come from that, that background of being hated because they know what it's like. Like I said, Jimmy, he recently went on Fox News again with Tucker Carlson. So there's going to be some hate coming. If people start talking about it, I might do a video about it. But other than that, getting tired of Jimmy Dore being on my fucking feed. It's like, nah. I love Jimmy, man. Jimmy, like one of the greats on when it comes to the political YouTube scene and everything. But but they're afraid to be hated, and the same thing with Bernie. So figuring out who the best options for progress shouldn't be nearly this complicated. Wait, I think I skipped something. All right, here we go. Yeah. Instead of hating on someone who's on their side and for some trivial thing that happened more than a year ago, debate is fine and encouraged, but the shaming and booing of one's own team is counterproductive. No, it's not. Not when they're being corrupt motherfuckers. Figuring out who the best options for progress are shouldn't be nearly this complicated. Think of the things you support and support the politicians who agree with you. Great. Guess what? There was 100,000 people that showed up to the Force to Vote town hall. I was one of those people. I'm a forklift driver. I'm a worker. I had work, but I guess what? I put my headphones in and I tuned in to make sure I was there so that my voice could be heard and counted. Even though I put a couple comments in there about it and everything, but like I wanted to be there to support the town hall. 100,000 people showed up. All these people showed up, virtually and everything, and they couldn't even show up to that. They couldn't even come. Like, they just ignored it basically. And one of the things this guy is forgetting is that AOC inserted herself into this, and Brianna Joy Gray does a great job of bringing this up. She inserted herself into this conversation by jumping in against Justin Jackson on the issue. Like nobody, like Jimmy he was bringing her up, but he was going at Mark Pocan because Mark Pocan was the one saying the argument is bullshit. But Mark Pocan was saying the argument was bullshit on bullshit reasons. He was saying that they didn't have the numbers to block the vote when obviously, clearly now that we know post-vote, they had more than enough numbers. They only needed like 4 people, I believe. So you literally needed AOC, Rashida Tlaib, Ayanna Pressley, Ilhan Omar, the original members of the squad. And then on top of that, they had incoming Jamal Bowman, his bitch ass. Every time I address that nigga, he's a bitch. Jamal Bowman is a spineless fucking bitch, dog. He's Obama 2.0. But I'm gonna stop disparaging the guy because this guy might say, I'm being mean. But yeah, they Rokana. They had more than enough. Okay, they had more than enough people to block this vote. But AOC inserted herself into the conversation by coming at Justin Jackson, and she got her ass fucking embarrassed on there by a fucking football player because she didn't know that he knew his shit. Shouts out to Justin Jackson and his new show, really fucking with it. But hey y'all, share this video. Tell them about your boy. I'm trying to have him on the show. You heard? Tell him about your boy. But yeah, I love Justin Jackson, man. Like when I saw him like lay the smackdown on her on Twitter, Jesus Christ, man. It's a smart dude. He got a smart head on his shoulders. I fuck with Justin. But where we at? Think of the things you support and support the politicians. Bet I do. That's why I do. You feel me? And as of right now, there's really no politician right now. Like Nina Turner was the only one, and then she turned around and started saying some bullshit too. So Mike Gravel, maybe, but he's not a politician. Fucking I voted for Howie Hawkins. Voted for the Green Party. But I mean like active people actively in there, and none of these niggas are working in my favor. From what I see. So naturally, when different strategies towards progress are debated, things may get heated. You might grow weary of someone and have less tolerance for them. That's totally fine and normal even. But progressives holding these year-long grudges against other progressives can only hurt the ultimate goal. I wish Bernie Sanders was a Democratic nominee in 2020. Yeah, he would be if he didn't get cheated out of it again. And I wish Elizabeth Warren, after realizing her campaign was toast, had done more to solidify his chances. But of these officials, along with newly chastised from the left, AOC, have a moral fortitude that's actually pretty rare in politics. They serve us, but we have a role to play in their success. We have to be smart about it. We are being smart about it. So when we see them not doing shit that's in our favor, we call them the fuck out. And when they ignore us, we know what's up and we know what it is. You're the one who seems to be out of the loop. So I'm going to go ahead and play this AOC video that literally contradicts all of the bullshit this nigga just said in this article when it comes to her.
What the Bronx and Queens needs is Medicare for all. We can do it now. It takes political courage. Start bringing the ruckus on the Democratic Party. That is our job. It's great that everyone thinks these issues are important. We need to make them urgent. This country has only ever changed for the better by groups of people that were willing to put everything on the line for a better future. That's how we got the civil rights movement, the women's rights movement. That's how we got the labor movement, queer rights and marriage equality. It didn't happen by people playing it safe. We have to give it all we got. Don't people realize that the most powerful position you can be in is when you are not materially attached to a position of power? If you're a one-term Congress member, so what? You can make 10 years worth of change in one term if you're not afraid. The Democratic Party does not do more unless it is pushed. So we need to push them. And they don't like it. I think I annoy them, but but that is our job. That's our job. All of Washington is not incentivized, on the whole, not incentivized to work in actually expediting guaranteed healthcare in the United States. Now, does that mean it's not going to happen? Absolutely not, because mass movement organizing can force it to happen. Force it to happen. Do not trust any political party to automatically work in your interest.
I call on everybody in independent media to join this mission.
Force it to happen.
Force the Congress to show which side are they really on. No vote for Nancy Pelosi unless Medicare for All is put on the House floor for a vote.
Start bringing the ruckus on the Democratic Party.
Yeah, so as y'all see, that was the more Matt Orfalea video. I believe Jimmy played it on the show a couple times too. But that just like goes to show everything you just said was contradicted by the person you're fucking defending with this article. And it's like, look, you know, people, you may feel that we're going hard on her, but it's like that's what has to happen. Because like these like, you know, she's protecting her own career. That's what she's doing right now. That's why she's not making the hard choices. That's why she's not opposing Pelosi, because she wants to be a multi-term congressperson. Like we saw that political article where she, you know, tries to distance herself from Bernie and all this bullshit and everything. Like, and it just this Weasley shit. Like even like, yo, y'all saw my Max Blumenthal video I made about him exposing her about forced to vote. Like just how even with just this situation, sticking with forced to vote, how they operated and moved to try to discredit Jimmy. Like even when she tried to pull the whole woman card, like, you know, him saying those things are violence against me. What the fuck, man? Like, so I'm just gonna go ahead and close the video out there because y'all know I'm about to get worked up. I'm about to get mad, and I'm recovering from being sick. I was sick the last 2 days, so not trying to get too worked up. So I'm gonna go ahead and close the video out there. As always, guys, thanks for tuning in. I'm now on Odyssey. The videos are gonna be on Odyssey. So if you're listening on Odyssey, you know, hit the fire button or whatever and share it, comment definitely. If you're on YouTube, you already know what it is. Hit the thumbs up button. Comment, share this John. Please share this John. Yo, share it to Justin Jackson, bro. I would love to have him on the show. Matter of fact, I'm gonna find some way to get him on the show. I'm gonna find some way. I'm gonna hit him up. But I would love to have him on the show because it's like, you know, I love where his head at. You feel me? I fuck with most of the stuff he be saying. I would really love to talk to him and chat with him. So share this on his page. Let him know I'm trying to have him on the show. So yeah, guys, thanks for showing love. I really appreciate y'all, man. Thank you so much. Yeah.